Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the video where I talk all about my end of year book plans. You guys, I cannot believe it's almost the end of 2024. I've got things I want to still do, and I want to talk about those with you via the end of year book tag. Now, I'm not quite sure who originally made this tag. It might be Ariel Bissett. I will link her down below just in case. But I decided to use the questions off of Gavin's video from last year. Now I love Gavin's channel. It's called Gavin Reads It All. You've probably heard of him. He's pretty popular. I just think he's really great, really funny, and I enjoyed his take on this tag last year. He added a number of questions that had more to do with like videos and the channel and all these things, which I found very interesting, and so I'm going to answer those questions. And obviously I will link his channel and that video from last year down below so you can check it out if you want. But stick with me and we will talk all about end of 2024 book plans. All right, friends, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back, all the things. Like I said, we are doing the end of the year book tag, and I will just jump in with the first question, which is, how has your 2024 reading gone so far? You guys, it's been the best year ever, like ever. I have been on BookTube since 2020, and every year I read about 52 books. That's just what I read. This year, I have read 70 books so far at the end of October here, and it's been fantastic. It's been so much fun. I've had so many 5-star, 4-star books. I have really leaned into reading series. I've leaned into reading what I want. So yes, it's been the best year. And now I think the next question, what's the best book you've read so far in 2024? I couldn't pick, you guys, there's so many good ones. Okay, I did come up with two that are kind of like emotionally impactful books. And these are not normal books on my channel, but they were fantastic, are fantastic. Read these books. First is The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. It's a historical fiction novel about the time frame of like pre-Revolutionary War, and there's this midwife named Martha Ballard who was a real person. Just the story that Ariel Lawhon crafted in this book, following her life, following some of the upheavals that happened in her small town that she kind of had to witness or be a witness for, and it was fantastic. I know a lot of you have read this book. Read it. You don't even have to read it during the winter. It's so good. And the other one that I felt like was so impactful was this one. So it is The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brommer. Now, this book, it was just such a fun, sweet journey. It's about a girl who is a death doula in New York City who has always kind of closed herself off. She lost her parents when she was very young. She lived with her grandfather, and she just kind of feels a bit like she can't trust people. She can't live. And in this story, she opens up a bit. She learns that she can live. She learns she can trust people. She learns that her life is not just so small. And it's so good. So good. So I loved that. The other thing I've been loving is reading series. Now I'm going to talk a lot about the books that I read that were part of series this year, but the one I want to highlight, because I just think this world is so good and so well crafted, and I get why people have been talking about this book series for so long, and that's the Daevabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the first book, The City of Brass. I read book 2 and 3 early 2024, and I love them. I love the story arcs of our main characters. So we have Nari, who is in ancient Cairo, who accidentally summons a Jinn warrior named Dara, and he takes her to the City of Magic. And she learns a lot about her ancestors and her parents, sort of. And where her character starts and where it ends in that last book is phenomenal, as well as some of our extra characters of Ali, who is really probably my favorite character in this whole book. He is the son of the leading ruling family in Daevabad, and his story arc was fantastic as well. So anyway, this world, the characters, it's just really good, and the way the story concluded I thought was excellent. Like, it was a really good series ending, at least for me. Okay, so those are some favorites, not all. There's not enough room to talk about them all. I can't wait to make my best of 2024 video. But number 3 is best sequel you read so far. So, okay, yes, I read the sequels. There's a trilogy. I've been talking about this for months and months. And that's The Blighted Stars by Megan E. O'Keefe. The whole trilogy is called The Devoured Worlds. I read book 2 and book 3 and book 1 this summer, and I really enjoyed it. It's a sci-fi series that involves our two main characters of Tarquin and Nara. And he is a son of one of the leading families in this world. So we're talking kind of our solar system and planets and all that. He's part of one of the big leading families. And so he's almost like royalty, if you will. And then she is a bodyguard. Now, there's some conflict between kind of the ruling family and the working class and all this. And they find themselves stranded and abandoned on this planet. And there is also kind of this thing, this like microbe, this entity that is hurting all the worlds, and humanity is needing to solve the problem. That's kind of the big overarching thing. I can't say enough about it. I thought it was really unique, really interesting. I really liked the characters. I liked the relationships that are formed in this book and this whole series. So that's my favorite sequel of 2024. Number 5, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And that is Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. I always say that wrong. But she wrote the one where it's What the River Knows, I think is what it's called. Anyway, this literally just came out. Like, it was one of the book of the month picks. I think I might get it. I'm so excited for it. I really enjoyed the first one. It is like a YA historical fantasy about this girl who is drawn to Egypt, and there's like some magic associated with some of the archaeological collections and things that they find, and it's really good and sweet. And I don't know, I'm just really looking forward to the second book in that installment because it left off on quite the cliffhanger, in my opinion. So that one, as well as this one, which actually was the question before, which is a new release you haven't read yet but want to, and that's this book, The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've always loved the Inheritance games, and I've talked about that a lot on this channel. I've been doing a whole read-along on Gwen's Patreon, which I'll link down below, and we are on to this book. I just picked it up. It just came out. I'm super excited. It's a spin-off series of the original trilogy. So I'm curious what's going to happen and what new characters we're going to get, but what like cameos we're going to get. So The Grandest Game is something that has been released that I haven't gotten to yet, but only because I was waiting. I was waiting to read it with other people, which makes reading a lot more fun. And now, biggest disappointment of 2024 so far. So I did just talk about this in my latest TBR game video because I'm not doing as much wrap-ups, but I did read this for the game, and that is Lisa Jules, None of This Is True. I'm putting this in biggest disappointment just because of my personal reading taste. Is this arguably a good book? Yes, it is. And I can see why a lot of people like it. For me personally, for my reading taste, I don't like psychological thrillers. I don't like being in the head of somebody who's just a little messed up. And in this case, you're not quite sure what the mess up is. You're not quite sure what to believe. None of this is true. You know, it has all of those things that do make for a good story. I just don't appreciate where this book went, and I ended up kind of skimming the last 200 pages. I cared in the sense I wanted to know how it all wrapped up, but I just did not want to invest in it. And it's about a podcaster who is approached by her birthday twin, somebody who was born on the same day, with an idea for a podcast, and everything starts to go badly after that. So most disappointed book for sure, mostly because so many people loved it. You know how you just kind of get on the hype train? Okay, biggest surprise of 2024 so far. Okay, this really shouldn't surprise me anymore. I kind of talked about this last year. YA fantasy. I have been loving YA fantasy. So I finally read The Cruel Prince. I read this and then I immediately read the other two. And then since then I've read the newest two. So all 5. I've read all 5 of this whole Folk of the Air series. Is it like amazing literature? By no means. Is it super fun and entertaining? Yes. Is it a good plot? Yes. I really enjoyed our character of Jude. I enjoyed Carden, even if he is the cruel prince. And there is a bit like of a bully romance, if you will, but I don't know if I ever truly believed the bully part of it. It definitely did enemies to lovers really well. And I just really enjoyed it. It's about this girl, Jude, who's human in a fairy land, and her twin sister have been just kind of fighting to belong, especially Jude. She wanted to kind of be this warrior, and all sorts of things happened from there. It's really, really fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I also read, what other YA? I read the first of the Raven Boys cycle. I really liked it. I liked our main character Blue and Gansey and like this ley line and all this like witchy stuff, and it was just really, really fun. And so I'm looking forward to finishing that. I also read Shatter Me. That one I didn't love as much as the two I just mentioned, but I did like it. I did find it very interesting, and I think it has a lot of potential of where it's going to go next. I don't know why I constantly am surprised by this. Last year I read like Legendborn, I read some Cassandra Clare, and I like it. It's fun. I know I'm not of the right age range, but I also think maybe I'm far enough, I'm like 42, maybe I'm old enough that I don't actually care about having to read adult. Like, I know that I'm an adult. Some days I don't even want to be an adult, but that's neither here nor there. Next is favorite new author, new to you or debut. So, I mean, Megan E. O'Keefe probably is honestly the answer to that. But I do need to talk about another series and author that I have been super obsessed with. And the reason this is not a new author per se is I did read The Ferryman last summer, but I started reading The Passage this year, the whole Passage series. I just finished the second book, The 12. It's so good. It's so good. This is a post-apocalyptic, like kind of pandemic type story about a virus that maybe the government was involved in, gets unleashed by accident, and it starts kind of this worldwide problem. And there's a group of characters we're following who are trying to fix it, including a girl named Amy who is said to be able to save the world. So I'm really enjoying it. It's very dense and kind of complex, but really, really clever and interesting. And I love Justin Cronin's writing. Book that made you cry. Oh my gosh, hands down this book, The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman. Third book in the Thursday Murder Club series. I know, I have heard that the fourth book will probably make me cry more, but this just had the inklings of the beginnings of like, oh, what's going to happen to these characters? And character, I guess, if you've read it, you know who I'm talking about. But this is about a group of retirees, like they're in their 70s or 80s, and they band together and they start solving murders. And I just love their character interactions. I love some of the conversations that get brought up just about life and how you live it and things like that too, along with murder mystery. So yes, this book made me cry, and I'm hoping to get to the fourth one before the end of the year. All right, book you saw on TikTok and regret reading. Okay, I don't TikTok, not just because I'm too old for that, but because I know myself and I know like that won't be very good for me. I feel like I would get caught and stuck in the scrolling, but I know what's popular on TikTok. And this book was so popular at the beginning of the year, and I fell into it. I fell into the hype. I fell into the sprayed edges and all the things, and that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. I did not like this book. I talked about it in another video. I'll link it down below or above, where I was trying out romantasy. Oh my gosh, like I have found a number of things that I don't like about romantasy, but my biggest hang up is adult romantasy, where the main character is clearly kind of YA in nature and maturity, but behaving very adult, if that makes sense. There's just lots of smutty scenes. It's kind of what I'm saying, but our main character felt like a 15-year-old who is just like obsessed about this boy, and I just couldn't. I couldn't get past that, and I feel like that's too common of trends that it makes me very wary of the romantasy genre. But anyway, moving on. What are the books you need to read by the end of the year? I have one main one, and I'm planning on reading it because it is part of my reading challenge, which I run off of Discord. It's always linked below. It's just a fun, very casual reading challenge, and we are reading The Weaver and the Witch Queen by Genevieve Gornichek. We're reading this in November, so it's our last buddy read for the year. I'm so excited for it. I think it'll be a really good book. I really love The Witch's Heart by this author. And this has like a Norse story about two sisters who are separated. One is trying to find her missing sister, and the other is like a witch destined to become Queen of Norway. Not quite sure. Other than that, I just expect a certain style of writing from this author, so I'm really excited to get to that book. All right, so now we're gonna switch into some of the questions that were unique to Gavin, which I just really liked. And so the first one is favorite video you've made so far in 2024. So I thought of kind of two. First was a vlog I made recently. So I don't vlog a lot. My life is busy. I have 4 kids. I homeschool. I don't have that space to kind of orchestrate vlogging and like vlogging well, that it's entertaining. But I am finding that I like vlogging and picking books in very random ways. And so the one I really enjoyed was randomly picking one of my favorite booktubers and then going to Goodreads and finding their last 5-star read and reading it. And I had such a successful video with that idea, and it was so much fun. And so I really enjoyed that. The other thing I really enjoyed was making my TBR game this year. I decided to kind of launch it in September. It's TBR University. It's based on kind of academics, so I thought the start of the school year was perfect for that, and it's just been really fun. So I've enjoyed making those videos. The excitement is very real, very high in those videos. Okay, the next question is a video you thought would flop but did well. Okay, so I thought any videos that I make on series would just flop, because I made a couple. I made series tracker at the beginning of the year, and I just recently made a kind of series check-in where I DNF'd a number of series. Now, the reason I felt like this is in the past when I've made like series TBRs, they never get very many views, and a lot of people aren't interested. Maybe what I think about some of these videos is the tracker aspect. People kind of like, I like that kind of stuff too. I like to see how people organize their reading, and so I just wasn't sure, but I like that, so I just wanted to make it, and it did better than expected, I guess. So that was kind of fun. That's a good surprise. Any upcoming videos you are excited to make? So I'm currently filming a kind of series vlog. Again, I enjoy series, I figured that out, and so I'm randomly picking some series to read, and I'm vlogging it, and it's taking me however long it's taking me to do that, and that's okay. That's kind of gonna be my style. So that's an upcoming video I'm excited about. The other thing is an idea of reading like completed series. Let me know. Let me know what you think of this. Like, to take completed series, like I have The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. I could just read all 3 of those. Like, I could read From Blood and Ash. I have all 3 of those. I could read Akatar. Those last 2 I'm not so sure of, because I just complained about romantasy and I don't want to commit to that. But I also know these are some like huge fan favorites, and I want to know what's going on, and I think those would be kind of fun. Would that be a fun idea? I'm asking you. So those are kind of some ideas of what's on the horizon I'm excited about. And then the last question is any channel goals before the end of the year? Not necessarily channel goals. I do want to, and decided to, bring back my reading challenge. I had thought about maybe not doing it, but I've done it for 2 years. It's really fun, and I've been chatting with people in Discord, and they also want it to come back. And so that's my plan, is I'm going to start kind of putting that together, start making some graphics, start coming up with the prompts and the buddy reads and things like that. And so look for that come December, because that's kind of my main goal for this channel before the end of the year. And so you guys, 2024 is about to be in the books, and it has been such a fun year. And please let me know down below some of your answers to these questions. I would love to hear from you. It's always fun to see kind of what everybody's reading, which is just so varied and different, and that's fun. But if you have nothing you necessarily want to say, but you want to let me know you were here, let's see, what should we do? Let's do a planet. Any kind of planet, spaceship, something, star, I don't care. You know what I mean. And otherwise, you guys, that's what I have for this video. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying the transition into the holiday season. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. All right, take care.